In the heart of West Africa, a nation is undergoing a profound transformation, and at its center is a man who has captured the world's attention. His name is Ibrahim Traore, and he's not just the leader of Burkina Faso. He's the world's youngest head of state. At just 36 years old, this army captain has become a symbol of a new, assertive African identity, challenging long-standing geopolitical dynamics and charting a bold, independent course for his country. And what does his leadership mean for Burkina Faso, for Africa, and for the world? To understand the man, we must first understand the land. Burkina Faso, a landlocked country in the Sahel region, has faced immense challenges for over a decade. Since 2015, it has been locked in a brutal conflict with extremist groups linked to Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The violence has displaced over 2 million people, claimed thousands of lives, and plunged the nation into a severe humanitarian crisis. The national mood was one of despair and frustration. The government and its international partners seemed unable to stop the bleeding. This is the backdrop against which Ibrahim Traore emerged. Born in 1988, he grew up far from the corridors of power. He pursued a university education in geology at the University of Ouagadougou, but chose a different path. In 2010, he joined the army, driven by a sense of duty to his nation. His military career was distinguished. He quickly rose through the ranks, gaining experience in the fierce battlegrounds of the Sahel. When it returned, a group of soldiers appeared on screen, with Captain Ibrahim Traore as their spokesperson. They announced that they had removed Damiba from power. Their reason was simple: a failure to stem the insurgency. Traore, then just 34 years old, was declared the new head of state, the leader of the patriotic movement for safeguarding and restoration. His rise was meteoric and, to many outsiders, shocking. But on the streets of Ouagadougou, he was met with cheers. People saw in him not a power-hungry usurper, but a patriot, a son of the soil who understood their suffering. His youth was not seen as a liability, but as a sign of fresh energy and a break from the old guard. His first speeches resonated deeply. He spoke not in the polished language of a diplomat, but with the raw conviction of a soldier. He promised a new strategy, one that would put Burkina forces at the forefront of the fight, relying on their own strength and courage. One of Traore's most significant and controversial moves was to redefine Burkina Faso's international partnerships. He needed weapons and expertise to fight the war, and he was willing to get them from wherever he could. He also strengthened ties with neighboring Mali and Niger, both of which are also led by military governments that have taken a similar anti-French, pro-sovereignty stance. Together, they formed the Alliance of Sahel States, a mutual defense pact aimed at tackling their shared security threats collectively and independently. Domestically, Traore's government has been defined by a spirit of national mobilization. He launched a massive recruitment drive for the Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, a civilian militia that supports the army. Tens of thousands of ordinary citizens, from farmers to teachers, signed up, armed and trained to protect their local communities. The motto became La Patrie ou la Mort, Nieuws Vainqueurs, meaning the homeland or death. We will overcome, a revolutionary slogan borrowed from the iconic former leader Thomas Sankara. These are powerful words that tap into a deep-seated desire across Africa for true independence and dignity. However, Traore's leadership is not without its critics and challenges. His government came to power through a coup which is inherently undemocratic. International organizations and Western governments have condemned the overthrow of constitutional order and called for a swift return to civilian rule. Human rights groups have also raised serious concerns. They point to allegations of abuses committed by security forces and the volunteer militias in their fight against insurgents. There are also reports of shrinking civic space with crackdowns on dissenting voices and the media. The very real and difficult question is whether the urgent need for security can justify the suspension of democratic norms and potential human rights violations. The path forward for Ibrahim Traore and Burkina Faso is fraught with challenges. The war is far from over. The humanitarian crisis continues. The country must navigate a complex geopolitical landscape while trying to build a new model of development from the ground up. Can he defeat the insurgency where others have failed? Can he deliver on his promises of economic sovereignty and social progress? And can he guide his nation back to a stable, constitutional order? The story of Ibrahim Traore is still being written. He is a complex and polarizing figure. To his supporters, he's a revolutionary hero, a patriot in the mold of Thomas Sankara, fighting for the true liberation of his people. To his critics, he is an autocrat who has seized power illegally and whose methods are a threat to democracy and human rights. But regardless of one's perspective, it is undeniable that he represents a powerful and growing movement across Africa, a demand for sovereignty, for dignity, and for African solutions to African problems. The world is watching Captain Ibrahim Traore, the young leader who dared to challenge the old order. His success or failure will have implications that reach far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. Thank you for watching. If you found this deep dive interesting, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that explores the critical stories shaping our world.